Coming up on CPTV, the city of Crown Point makes preparations for a new off-the-square attraction site. Teacher couples test their knowledge on their relationships, and the Bulldogs do it again, beating Valpo in the final seconds of Friday night's game in CP. Hi, I'm Reese Groppentine and welcome to CPTV. Mitch Bolda will have your 5-day weather forecast and Ethan Burdine will bring us CP sports highlights. Here's what's happening at Crown Point High School. What would schooling be like without grades? A recent article in Fortune magazine revealed that Singapore, known to rank globally for its math and science education programs, is starting to eliminate the practice of using grades to assess students. But is this something we could expect here in the U.S. anytime soon? CPTV's Jack Gardner met with CP students, administrators, and teachers to find out where we stand on the practice of grading.
Lately, countries such as Singapore and Finland, whose global test rankings are some of the highest in the world, are taking a new approach to the assessment of their students. Singapore specifically is leading a charge to drive grassroots innovation with the goal of which most overworked students dream of, the scrapping of grades from the student assessment. To gain a more relatable perspective on this topic, we asked the students and staff of CPHS alike what their viewpoint is on scrapping grades entirely.
I think eliminating grades from student assessment will really give the student more of a chance to focus on themselves and not a number that defines them or a letter that defines them.
I don't know if eliminating grades would be the best option. I think maybe modifying the system. I think that our small curve for perfection, to say that you have a very small portion to earn an A, I feel that that's a little bit unfair.
I believe that an assessment system with grades rewards those who can play the game the best, such as the GPA game. I also believe that it rewards repetition and routine, and it doesn't allow students to form a passion about a single subject.
Right now, unfortunately, we work in an educational system that treats grades as products. And it's nice to be able to go home and pin an A+ onto the refrigerator, but that A+ is never really going to do anything for you in the real world.
As we look at what Singapore is attempting to do with their grading, it's not a complete overhaul of the grading system. It's taking a look at the purpose of a course and what they're trying to strive for, and trying to create a grading system that best meets what the aims and the goals are of that course.
After consulting the students and staff of CPHS, the question still remains: is it possible to implement these policies into our school system? For CPTV, I'm Jack Gardner.
The CPHS VEX Robotics team hosted a high school state qualifying tournament this past weekend at Wheeler Middle School. CP was crowned tournament champion but had previously qualified for state at an earlier tournament on February 4th at Plymouth High School. The VEX Robotics State Tournament will take place in Zionsville on February 25th.
At this competition, we're hoping to place A and B teams in the higher ranks and qualify one of our lower teams for state so we can have 3 going instead of just 2. Since we've already qualified, I don't really have many expectations for the competition, just mainly to enjoy ourselves and see where we stand in time for state.
For our tournament this past weekend were obviously we wanted to win. At the same time, we have 6 teams in total, so we wanted to try and get more than just our current 2 teams qualified for state. Unfortunately, that didn't work out that way because our top 2 teams had a bad day, so we weren't able to help them along to state, but we're hoping they'll get there on their own. As far as for where the team itself will go after this competition, we would very much like to compete at state, which we will, and then hopefully qualify for the World Championship by taking a home tournament finalist at the state tournament.
Long known to be an eyesore, the corner of West and Juliet Street is about to get a makeover that will soon become another attraction to the Crown Point community. Here's CPTV's Evan Holland with more.
Crown Point, Indiana has been voted the best downtown in Lake County since 2009 and the best place to live in Lake County since 2010, according to the Northwest Indiana Times newspaper. Many unique attractions can be found in the center of the city, or what's known to local residents as the Square, and more events are hosted on the streets every year. From bowling alleys and farmers markets to elegant restaurants and popular bars, there is almost always something to do.
Crown Point historically has had a lot of public events in its downtown. It's a great place for where we gather people. It's a pedestrian style amenity that people, whether they live here, work here, or visit here, gravitate to our downtown.
However, an empty lot has been seated just off the square for nearly 15 years now. This area, located just off the corner of West Street and 231, once served as the bus lot for the Crown Point Community School Corporation. However, when the new high school moved to a different location in 2003, this site became vacant a few years later. The lot has been described by some as an eyesore compared to the historic courthouse that sits just east, but city officials say this won't be the case for much longer. The city has recently purchased the 2-acre plot of land from the school corporation for $1 and a promise to award $100,000 in technology grants over the next 10 years. The city plans on creating a downtown park that includes a splash pad, a band shell, and places for as many as 55 vendors. This project is similar in size and purpose to Central Park in nearby Valparaiso. The Valparaiso Park contains a splash pad and a band shell to host various city events. The Crown Point Park, to be named at a later date, will host events such as the Farmers Market, Cruise Night, and the annual Corn Roast.
We're trying to find a balance how to, one, invite people to our community, especially our downtown core. At the same time, be smarter with our resources and how we're able to have these events take place without having to basically interrupt people's daily lives, whether they attend or not. We're hoping to have construction begin sometime this late spring, early summer, and our goal is hopefully to have that venue open in some capacity by the fall of this year. What we anticipate it being fully functional by the spring of 2018.
For CPTV, I'm Evan Holland.
We're lucky to have a number of fun teacher couples at CPHS. With yesterday being Valentine's Day, we thought it would be fun to get a couple of CP husbands and wives together to see just how much they know about each other.
Trying to decide which one.
That's easy. I think.
How
Maybe
many
not.
words are you writing?
2.
Alright, 3, 2, 1. No!
Oh, I don't know, dude. But I'm definitely not buying you Coach Purse either. All right.
1.
I put flowers and both children to nap at the same time.
That would be fine. I want ice cream.
She wants ice cream.
That's usually the answer.
Ice cream, okay.
Ready?
No! I'm organizing the remotes on... Mr. Hoffman has this thing where he puts the remote, we have 3 remotes, and he puts them in a certain order on the coffee table. And if they're askew or out of line,
They gotta be organized. They gotta be straightforward. That's just how it is.
All right.
I went with clip nails on the couch.
You clip your fingernails on the couch.
Put it on the board! Got one right.
Disgusting.
All right, I'm gonna go with it. Ready?
yeah, so it's you.
All right.
I'm just gonna go with the obvious answer.
I'm gonna go with the real answer.
Oh, I just wrote your first name.
That's what I wrote.
Okay.
Well, I wrote your first name.
She doesn't even know. I can tell. She has no idea.
Never thought about it.
I'm gonna put what I would.
What you would do?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put the same thing because I know what you would do.
All right. Okay.
Cupcake Emporium would be the first thing she would buy.
I bought a cupcake emporium.
See?
So that I could be the baker.
There we go. Obviously.
Yours is better, you're right.
When you wake up, when you walk out.
The deadline for yearbook orders are quickly approaching. February 28th is the last day that you could order your 2016-2017 yearbook. The yearbook staff will not be accepting either of these past the said deadlines, so be sure to reserve your spots now. At the start of every year, many of us practice the tradition of making a New Year's resolution. Whether it is giving up junk food or being nicer to those around you, everyone has something else they'd like to improve upon. However, rarely do we follow up with these resolutions a couple months later. We decided to follow up with some CP students to see where they were with their 2017 commitments.
Whether it's saving money or eating healthier, come the start of the new year, most Americans make New Year's resolutions to better themselves. But studies say they only last about a week. About 41% of Americans make New Year's resolutions, while only 10% of them actually follow through with them. I went around CPHS to see if anyone here was a part of that 10%.
My New Year's resolution is just to get paper, and so far I've been failing because I've been a broke boy.
My New Year's resolution was go to the gym more often, and I never really started that, so it's kind of a failed resolution.
To start eating healthy, and I blew it the very first day.
To eat healthier and get in better shape. I've been doing a better job this year, bringing my lunch to school and then working out after practices and after school whenever I can.
To be more physically active, and I would say I succeeded. I'm exercising more and eating better.
All right, so this year is probably the first year forever that I did not do a New Year's resolution. And it's kind of been actually freeing. I've been so busy, I don't have time to worry, and things are going great.
Is to focus on life events because, I'm a senior. I'm going off to college here in a few months. So my parents told me to make adult decisions, and that's what I'm doing. So far, that's going really well. I've been doing a lot of scholarships, applying to colleges, and got accepted into a few colleges. I don't know if I'm going to break this resolution. It's a hard one to break, but I'm doing really well so far.
Not to spend money on eating out, and that didn't work out after like the first week.
I have a confession to make. I actually failed to make my resolutions. I was so busy, I didn't even bother to make them. So if I were making one now, I'd say I resolved to make some more time for myself.
Be more honest about my feelings and about how I feel about people. So far, it's been great. I've lost a couple people because of it, but, who cares really? And I hope to see how it goes for the rest of the year.
I gave up soda and candy, and now I get water and candy because I'm losing weight.
It's to just be in a more positive mood and be more joyful because we have every day to be happy and be joyful. And I think I've succeeded so far, just waking up every day saying that, I have a reason to be happy today. So I definitely think I've succeeded.
Sticking to a resolution can be hard, but some seem to have achieved. For CPTV, I'm Ashley Reed.
The long-range forecast has some warm temps over the next few days. Here's CPTV's Mitch Bolda to tell us just how warm it's going to be and bring us our 5-day weather forecast.
This past weekend, temps were well above average, and they have slowly crept back down to more February-like weather. But by the weekend, it'll begin to feel more like early April. Before we get to your 5-day forecast, let's take a look at what we can expect for the rest of today. At noon, temps will be right around 31 degrees with partly cloudy skies. By the 3 o'clock hour, we'll warm up a degree or two to the day's high of 32. And as we approach that 6 o'clock hour, we'll begin to cool those temps still under those partly cloudy skies. Taking a look into our 5-day forecast, tomorrow temps will hover right around 40 degrees with partly cloudy skies. The warm-up will begin on Friday as skies clear and temps warm up nearly 20 degrees from Thursday for that high of 57. As we take a look into our long-range weekend forecast, Saturday will break 60 degrees again with clear skies. Sunday will look very much the same, but a degree or two cooler. For your day off on Monday, temps will warm back up into the 60s, again with partly cloudy skies. And that's your 5-day forecast. Enjoy your long weekend.
Seniors now have the opportunity to apply for over 70 different scholarships through the Crown Point Community Foundation. The deadline to apply is March 17th. Go to www.thecpcf.org/scholarships to fill out and submit applications. Another exciting finish between CP and Valpo boys basketball teams, and a number of CP wrestlers advanced to state during Saturday's East Chicago Semi-State. Here with all your CP sports highlights is Ethan Burdine.
There was a lot of excitement surrounding the boys basketball rematch of last year's sectional championship against Valparaiso last Friday, and the game did not disappoint. With 13 seconds left and CP trailing 49-51, CP senior Kenny Decker hit a 15-foot pull-up jumper to tie the score at 51. On Valpo's ensuing possession, CP guard Sam Krutz knocked the ball from Valpo's Trace Ramsey's hand. CP senior Andrew Keneally picked up the ball, threw a full-court touchdown pass to striding Dom Tomic, who laid the ball up, and with a second left, the CP student section erupted, stormed the court, and when the buzzer sounded, CP celebrated the exciting 53-51 win.
We just talk about one day at a time. We need to have a good practice tomorrow. There were some things tonight that I felt like we could have done a little bit better. We could have blocked out. We missed a couple of blockouts there late. We didn't crash the boards like we need to. So those are things that we'll need to get addressed before we play at Lake Central next Friday.
Definitely just, it's such a tough game that, they're such a good team that, you got to come out and give it your all because you know that they are. That's just really motivating to come out and get this win.
It's one of those games where we said the last 2 or 3 minutes is probably going to dictate who wins the game. And it's not going to necessarily be who's the better team, but who's a tougher team in those situations. And we came up with a couple of loose ball rebounds and came up with a couple of steals there that we weren't getting earlier in the game. That turned out to be the difference.
With the win, Crown Point will at least lock up a share of the DAC title with Valparaiso if both teams win out their remaining DAC games against Lake Central and Chesterton respectively this Friday. The girls' swim team had an exciting weekend as they traveled to Indianapolis for the IHSAA State Championship. 2 CP seniors, Kelsey Artem and Hannah Kukaruga, qualified in individual events, and the team also sent 2 relays to the meet. After prelims on Friday, Artem was ranked 10th in the 100 breaststroke, and Kukaruga went in the Saturday session ranked number 1 in both the 200 individual medley and the 100 butterfly. In the finals on Saturday, the relays finished in 10th and 16th place. Artem finished 9th place, and Kukaruga finished as state runners-up in both of her events. Kukaruga will be swimming for Stanford University next year, and Artem will be swimming for the University of Wisconsin.
Yeah, this is definitely an emotional experience, to say the least. Right before my last event, I was in the warm-down pool with Kelsey, and we both kind of looked at each other and we said, no matter what, we're so proud of ourselves of what we've accomplished through the last 4 years, and just everything we've been through, and the moments of glory, the struggles, and everything. I'm so proud of that, and I cannot be more grateful for this journey.
On Saturday, the CP wrestling team finished 6th overall in the 2017 IHSAA East Chicago Central Semi-State Meet. They faced off against 58 other schools, racking up a total of 60 points. Crown Point put up a show with 4 wrestlers qualifying for state. Justin Akers placed 3rd in the 220-pound weight class. Oscar Cash placed 2nd in the 160-pound weight class. Nola Moore placed 3rd in the 152-pound weight class. And Mario Traficante placed 4th in the 145-pound weight class. The Dogs will be competing this Saturday at the IHSAA State Finals at Pitch Stadium in Indianapolis. Also, last Saturday, the CP gymnastics team competed against Maryville at home. CP Shannon Harrison scored a 8.9 on bars and a 9.5 on floor, and Kaylee Stacks scored a 9.1 on vault. Sadly, the Dogs fell to the Pirates with a final score of 109.775 to 108.1. The girls face Lowell tonight at 6 p.m., and that's it for sports.
The Crown Point Community Foundation will be hosting their annual volunteer fair on March 4th in the CPHS cafeteria from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Volunteer opportunities range from the Shrine of Christ Passion to the Lakeshore Paws Animal Shelter. Most of the high school experience revolves around competition. Many students are competitive regarding grades, sports, or even clubs. But there's a group of CPHS students who have a different take on it, and they're telling everyone about it on YouTube. Here's an inside look at SBW, also known as Skater Boys World.
Well, it stands for Skater Boys. SBW to me is kind of like a representation of our friend group.
Corin and I are easily the worst skaters of the bunch. We're kind of a benchmark for everybody that watches that's never skated before.
We just, skate around, making other people laugh. To me, SBW is just having the best time that you could have, even though you're not the greatest at it. even if you're not too good at something, you should make the best of it.
My message to everyone is to just do you and don't let limitations stop you. Because as you can see, I'm pretty bad at skating, but I still love doing it.
My role in SBW is I record and I edit everything. And I also just kind of move everything along a little bit. It's just a fun time, and it's a way to vent our personalities into one video or into a series of videos.
My role in SBW is kind of to bring more of the skating aspect into it. I kind of help with doing some of the more idiotic, goofy stuff. SBW to us is just another way for us to try to make other people laugh. Kind of bring some fun energy to the table.
You don't necessarily have to be good at something to have fun with it, and I think that's what SBW kind of means.
That'll do it for today's show. Remember, you could view all of our past episodes on cptvmedia.com, and you could also follow us on Twitter at cptvmedia. For Mitch Bolda, Ethan Burdine, and all of us here at CPTV, I'm Reese Gropentine. We'll see you next time.